Hello everyone and welcome to a review of the I Heart Makeup I Heart Chocolate palette. This palette is supposed to be a dupe for the Too Faced Original Chocolate Bar palette. And as you probably know, I Heart Makeup is a sub-brand of Makeup Revolution. So let me take out the palette from this paper box. As you can see, the name of the palette is on the back and the compact is made out of hard plastic. The front of the palette kind of looks like chocolate melting onto the actual palette. This is the first palette in a series of 6 currently. I Heart Makeup recently released a new addition to their collection, which is called the Vice palette. And of the previously available 5 palettes, I own 3. I also own the Naked Chocolate palette, which is made to look like white chocolate. And also the Death by Chocolate palette, which is made to look like darker chocolate. You see, this kind of looks like milk chocolate, and this kind of looks like dark chocolate. Inside the palette, you get a huge mirror, which is great. And then there are 16 shades in here, a mixture of shimmer, metallics, and mattes. You get a dual-sided applicator, and you also get this plastic inlay with the names of all the shades. And you get the same kind of inlay in the original Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the swatches. I'm going to do live swatches with a brush, and I'm going to show you the whole process. It takes longer this way. I've seen people who lay down a layer of color on their skin, and then what they actually film is when they put the final layer on and the color looks super intense, but I don't think that gives you a very exact indication of just how pigmented these colors are. Plus, I find that they are pigmented enough that they don't require that artifice. So let's start with the first shade over here, which is called You Need Love. And this one is unfortunately very close to my own skin tone, so you aren't able to see anything from this. This is a really nice matte highlighter or a cleanup shade. This is where I swatched it. You kind of just have to trust me that the pigmentation is okay on this one. Then we have this olive green, which is called Piece Me Together. Now this has nice pigmentation. The surprising thing is that in the pan it looks quite a bit more green, whereas on the skin it looks quite a bit more brown. And this looks like it could have some fallout, which, to be honest, I'm quite surprised with, because I have worn this palette on several occasions and I did not notice any fallout. Now, I don't remember having used this actual shade. I used most of the other ones, but if you just tap off your brush, you should be okay with this one. So this is a nice brown with golden shimmer. I hope that you can see that. The next one is called One More Piece, and this is a matte. The pigmentation is really very good. This is a medium brown, kind of more of a reddish brown, very pretty. And again, excellent pigmentation for a matte. And next to it we have Love Torn, which in the pan is a deep plummy shade with a lot of golden shimmer. Boom, that's pigmentation for you. This is really pretty. It has a lot of golden shimmer on the skin as well. I hope that you can see this in the swatch. Let me refocus the camera. So here I am. I put the focus of the camera right on the swatch. I hope that you can see it better. It has a lot of golden shimmer in it. It's very pretty. And last on the first row, another matte shade. This is called Stolen Chocolate. Excellent pigmentation. This is a darker brown, as you can see, than the One More Piece, and this is a lot cooler in tone. Really pretty and excellent pigmentation. Again, a matte. Beautiful. Going on to the second row, the first one is another matte, and this is called Thank Friday. Okay, this is not quite as pigmented. This is a kind of terracotta brown, so it has quite a bit of red into it. It's very nice and smooth on the skin, but it's not as wonderfully pigmented as the one before, which was called Stolen Chocolate. The next shade is called More. I believe this is a metallic. Okay, this is the gold. I'm not sure if I have too much makeup remover on the brush from having cleaned it, or if this is not quite as pigmented, but you can definitely build it up. It does have a nice sheen. I will build it up a little bit for you. I hope that you can see it. My light is washing it out a little bit. This is a very light golden shade. Very pretty for all over the lid or as an inner corner highlight if you're deeper in skin tone. Very nice and reflective, and it goes on very smooth. There is no chunkiness with this one. I hope that you can see this. I think that the camera doesn't really do justice to this shade. I think this is really pretty because this is the type of shade that looks very different depending on how the light catches it. So this is one that you would need to see on the eyelid. I've worn this one and it was very pretty. This one is called Pleasure Girl, and this is another matte. Very nice pigmentation. Bear in mind I do have a little bit too much makeup remover on the brush. So this is again a reddish brown. This would be a very nice color for the crease, a good staple shade. Next to it we have this pink shade, which is called Meat Chocolate. That's an interesting name for a pink shade. This is another matte. The pigmentation is quite okay, but it's hard to pick up from my skin. I will try to build it up a little bit. I hope that you can see something. I could try to tone down the light a little bit as well. See if that makes any difference. In person the pigmentation is pretty nice. Let me try to tone down the light a little bit. So again, this is Meat Chocolate. I don't know if you can really see it. It's not very far off from my skin tone. I think in this light you can see a little bit more of this more shade, of the light goldeny shade. With this one, you'll just have to trust me that the pigmentation is adequate. We're moving on to the purple shade, which is called Unforgivable. Okay, this is not quite as pigmented, as you can see. But I've worn this and I think it builds up okay. But right off the bat, this is not one of those spectacularly pigmented shades. I do have to say that this is a more interesting shade in that it is kind of a gray purple shade. I don't have anything like this in my collection, and this has a sheen finish, so a satin finish. Not quite as shimmery as more over here, but definitely not a matte. And last on the second row we have Love Divine. This is a nice bronze shade, and this has really nice pigmentation. And this is a shimmery finish. This is kind of a combination between a copper penny and something a little bit more burgundy. Really, really pretty. This would also be an excellent shade for a one shadow look. It's really smooth, it doesn't have fallout, and the pigmentation is definitely there. So again, this is Love Divine. 5 more shades over here and I'm running out of space already on my arm. Next up is a shade called Smooth Criminal. And if anybody else is thinking of Michael Jackson right now, let me know. This is a true bronze shade as opposed to the previous one that does go a little bit more into burgundy. Another shimmery shade, really, really beautiful, very pigmented, very smooth, wonderful shade, just lovely. Next we have Chocolate Love. And this is kind of an antique gold. So this is deeper than the golden shade immediately above it in the palette, which is this shade more over here. This is another shimmery finish. The pigmentation is very nice in person, although on camera it's a bit hard to see. And I think that I will stop my swatches over here because my veins are very, very apparent, and I think they may interfere with the swatches and they may adulterate the shade of my swatches. I will use this space over here to swatch the last 3 shades because my veins are just too prominent around my wrist. The third to last shade is called You Need More. Nice pigmentation. This is a beautiful rich brown shade. This kind of reminds me of Brownie Points from the e.l.f. Smudge Pots. It's that really nice rich brown shade. This is another shimmery finish, really nice and pigmented, and it's kind of a mix of brown with bronze. Very nice and rich shade. I hope that you can see the sheen that it gives off. This nice burgundy shade with multicolored glitter in the pan is called What a Way to Go. And this has spectacular pigmentation. Did you see that? Just one swipe. This is really pigmented. This is a beautiful, beautiful burgundy shade. An absolutely dream shade for the fall and winter. So pretty. And the glitter is very subtle in this one, so you're not going to see a whole lot of that on the eye. There is a little bit of shimmeriness and glitteriness, but not a whole lot. I'd say that if you'd see this directly on the eye, you would probably not think that it has glitter in it. It's that subtle. And the last shade of the palette is called Endorphins Ready. And this is a beautiful highlight shade. It looks champagne-y in the pan, but once you swatch it, this is a satin finish and it has quite a bit of pink in it. This is so beautiful. It almost veers off into purple, and if you build it up, it almost builds up to a metallic finish. So nice, so pigmented. And it's nice that if you choose to blend it out, you have just a very subtle highlight, and if you choose to build it up and put it, for example, all over the lid, you have a great lid shade that looks quite unique. So these are all the shades. Again, the first one is not visible against my skin, but very nice colors. Overall, the pigmentation is spectacular, and from having swatched these, I know that they stain the skin, and from having worn these on my eyes, I know that they last forever without any trouble. Even if you went a little bit heavy on the moisturizer, even if you're not wearing primer, they still look great on the eyes. There's no patchiness. I didn't notice any fallout with these, and I didn't notice any creasing problems. And did I mention that they are really easy to blend out? And the colors are just so gorgeous, but still so very wearable. This is a great palette for an official setting. You can get great looks for work or for school with these. And the color selection is such that you don't have to put a lot of thought into selecting the shades that you want to use for an eye look, because they all work together very well. You can get a range of looks out of this palette. This palette retails for 10 euros or 8 pounds. And from having researched it, I know that every shade in this palette is basically a dead-on dupe for the original Too Faced chocolate bar palette, which retails for $49 in the US, and in Germany you can get it for anywhere between 60 to 85 euros, which is a lot of money. So if you're interested in that palette and you don't want to break the bank, this one is a great option. Now, in all earnestness, I do have to say that the online reviewers were consistent about the fact that the super amazing quality of the Too Faced shadows is not 100% duped by this palette, but at the same time they were consistently impressed with the high quality of these eyeshadows, and I can personally vouch for their quality as well. And from having worn this palette multiple times, I can tell you that I am completely satisfied with the quality of this palette. And since the shades are so close to the Too Faced chocolate bar palette, I don't think that anybody will be able to tell that what you're wearing on your eyes is not the original Too Faced chocolate bar palette. All in all, I think this palette is a great deal. I think this palette is ideal for formal settings because you get a bunch of super wearable shades that you can wear all year round. I do think that some shades in here are especially good for the fall and winter, but you can definitely get really pretty combinations irrespective of season. I think this is an ideal palette to travel with. I was actually on the road for 2 weeks and this is the only palette I took along. I love the big mirror on top. I like that it's nice and sturdy, and believe me that I put it through a fair share of physical abuse, unfortunately, and it held up perfectly. I love the range of finishes from mattes to satins to shimmers in here. I love that you get really light shades to medium shades to dark shades, and I obviously love the color range. Everything really wearable, but you still get a couple of interesting pops of color like this purple over here, or the pink, or this gorgeous burgundy down here. Overall, I'm really satisfied with this palette. And yes, I do have a lot of palettes in my collection. Did I need another neutral palette? Well, I guess I did, because I'm loving this. If I were to give it a grade, I would probably give it a 9.5 out of a 10. Just because some of the shades are not amazingly pigmented right off the bat, like some of these shades are in this palette. And I'm also not crazy about the double-sided applicator, but it's nice that they throw it in there all the same. So here are all the swatches again. Really gorgeous colors. And just to show you what I was talking about earlier, I will try to remove them on live camera. And I have a lot of makeup remover on my cotton ball over here, and I will just go over the swatches. See how I have to really rub to get them off? And even when I do, there is still some left. So see, you really have to rub these off. I put quite a bit of makeup remover on my cotton, and you can definitely still see the traces of where the swatches were. This was the burgundy one down here. They kind of stain your skin, so I will have to take a shower after this to remove everything from my skin. But this is actually good news for wearing them on the eyes, because it means that they will not fade throughout the day. See how the burgundy one is still left on my skin? I hope that this review was helpful. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a quick thumbs up, leave me a comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. It always helps me out when you do that, and it is of course completely free to do all of those things. Have an amazing rest of the day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!